one offense or another to break through and be able to move the ball?
Well, yeah, it's going to be tough moving the ball on our part, and hopefully it will be for them. They've got a little bit more maybe experience and more playmakers offensively, but we just got to try to slow them down a little bit. Again, we had a hard time doing that in the first half last year, especially. They were up and down the field on us, and it concerns you a little bit. So we're going to have to make the most of our opportunities, and it's like any game when you're an underdog. You just got to play your absolute best. Hopefully, minimize your critical mistakes, and if you get some opportunities, you got to cash in. They're going to be few and far between, but we got to try to be ready to go whenever they show up.
You guys move guys around to try in different positions from time to time. Is it more difficult to move a quarterback to receiver than it is, say, the sort of tight end or linebackers as far as changes?
Oh, I don't know. It seems like we've got a couple quarterbacks out there. Cheney was a high school quarterback. Marvin, Hinkle was. I think I'm missing somebody in our group right now. There's somebody else. You guys know, Darrell, and the kid from Kent State. I don't know how many balls he caught against the Jets the other day. Edelman, didn't he have a bunch? Because which ball was out, So it's just guys are good athletes. You hope they can, but it takes time. And Marvin's a good illustration. We've talked about that before. It just last year was not the best time to do it. We did it in season, and he's just kind of gathering, learning what he could. But it does take time to develop into a good any position. It takes time and training and repetition. So I think we're at least seeing some positives there. And some positions are a little bit more natural than others, I guess. Moving. Guys tend to move inside. Defensive guys tend to move to the offensive line. Tight ends can move down inside to the offensive lineman, and Gallery did that. Steinbach. So it depends on the situation.
Your running backs kind of taking a different approach on the goal line this year. They kind of go over the pile. I think is that Brandon's idea, considering Adams' first attempt a little shaky?
I don't know if that was follow the leader or what, but Brandon did it up at Iowa State 2 weeks ago, and then we saw them both do it the other day. So I'm okay with that as long as it works. Takes a little, you got to. Takes a fearless guy to do that.
Coach Paterno talked at a teleconference recently about sportsmanship and some things he thought of it, and I understand the NCAA sent out a recommendation to shake hands before the game. Is sportsmanship changed that much over the years, or is it media exposure has brought things to light?
Yeah, there's illustrations of bad sportsmanship, I think, probably from all decades. And most things that happen in sports, there's not a lot new. It's just kind of like plays and styles of play, too. I don't think there's a lot of new inventions out there. So I think there's probably ebb and flow. And I think it's great for awareness. I think it's more important for, how people conduct themselves. I think that's really the proof's in the pudding, not so much talking about it. So I think that's one great thing about the Big Ten overall. There have been very few that I'm aware of, at least, incidents that have gone on that are, really distasteful. I can't remember too many of them involving Big Ten teams. So hopefully it stays that way.
Last season you entered this game, I think you were 5-4, and maybe facing another 6-6 season, and you haven't lost since. Do you think that maybe last year's game was a bit of a turning point, or was that just the end result of a lot of hard work?
Well, yes and yes, probably. It was a turning point in the fact that we won that day, and then we continued to win. So I think we became a pretty good football team about that time last year. We were on the road to it, and that helped us. It's the first time we won a close game. I think you all are more aware of that statistic better than I am, but we hadn't won a close game for quite a while. So that was significant, and we won another close one the week after. So we got over that hurdle a little bit. But every season, every team has got its own personality. It's a cliche, but it is a journey, and every step along the way is important, and how you respond to every step is really important too. And we're much earlier in the season this year as opposed to last year, but this team, like last year's team, has been fun to work with. It's been very responsive. I think we got great character on the team. We got good leadership. I think everybody's invested, and it's basically every day's been pretty enjoyable outside of the injuries. That's part of football, and some years are better than others.
Now does it help that it is still early, but you've already played a Big 12 team on the road, a rivalry game, you played a environment you're gonna face Saturday night?
Yeah, I think one of the things I was pleased with this past week is that, you know, that was that score, that was a tough football game. I mean, you know, it was basically an even football game, and our guys really had to play hard each and every snap, and they had to respond to some things during the game, and so it was a hard, you know, it was a full day's work Saturday, and I think that'll be good. I don't know if it'll show up this week, but I think it's going to benefit us down the road, certainly. You know, you like to be able to come out on one of those and say, boy, you know, we did a good job responding. I think our guys did on Saturday.
What specific problems or challenges does Darryl Clark present you? Last year you were able to force him into his worst game.
Yeah.
What does he do?
It won't be easy, and you know, it isn't easy. But you know, we've talked about quarterbacks in the past. Yeah, there's all kinds of different styles of quarterbacks, but some guys just kind of know how to play, and it's like anything else. You know, some guys just have a knack of winning, and to me, that's Darryl Clark. And you know, there were games we saw him last year where he's involved in blowouts, and then there was that you know, the Ohio State game, you know, which was a whole different kind of football game, but a great football game. And you know, some quarterbacks just have that ability of, you know, guiding their teams to victories, and he certainly seems very adept at that. And he's a guy who can beat you throwing the football. He can beat you with his feet, and also, you know, with his head. You know, he's a smart, heady guy out there.
Last two quarterbacks or opponents, they're passing game. The numbers are pretty ugly. When you look at the tape, what do you think the key has been to, I guess, all that?
If we're playing well, then everybody's making a contribution. You know, pressure up front is a big part of pass defense, not necessarily sacks, all those are great, but pressure up front's good. And, you know, you have to have good underneath coverage, which is usually the end of the linebackers. Linebackers are always involved in that, and then sometimes some of the guys in the secondary get involved there too. And then, you know, guys have to be protecting the back deep too. So it's just playing good team defense, and that's kind of how we're built. You know, we need all 11 guys to be doing their job. If we do that, when we do it well, you know, we can be effective. And you know, but if one area drops off a little bit, usually it shows up.
Those last